What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called 3,000 Years of Longing, starring Idris Elba, of course, Tilda Swinton, and Aiden McKenzie. First of all, I want to do a little history look back at Idris Elba. All right, I want you to notice something here. This man was the one who turned down the role as the first black James Bond. Okay, then he came back and they said he might be changing his mind. I wonder what made him do that. Never mind that. We know what made it do it. I remember in 2002, Wire came out. The Wire, right? Now, at the time, I really had no idea that he was even in this show. Okay? Because I really didn't watch the show religiously like that. All right? If it made any sense. And so I had no idea. But it turns out he was one of the biggest characters in there. Stringer Bell or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there was that. Then, come around 2007, this guy jumped in a movie called This Christmas. And then he was also in American Gangster. Okay, now that was obviously the better role out of the two. Even though he wasn't in there for a long time. I'm not going to say why. To watch the movie. But, yeah. Then we go to 2009. And this is the first time I actually noticed who he was. All honesty, I actually noticed this guy was Idris Elba when he came up in this movie, and he was the husband or fiance or whatever of Beyonce. And I remember him mentioning just how crazy Beyonce is. And it might have been a little difficult to work with her. And I want to put something out there. I respect black British guys because they do not care. If you ask them what they feel about their co-stars, they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. My boy Daniel Kaluuya did the same thing. All right? He didn't hold back on that one. Keep doing that. All right? I respect that honesty. Then in 2010, he was in Takers. I had no earthly idea this man was even in that movie. He's kind of a chameleon. He's a chameleon. He falls under the radar really good sometimes. Well, he can't now, but back in the day, yeah, he could have played in an all-white movie, and I didn't know he was in there. Then in 2011, started his journey as just playing HEIMDALL for a couple of years. In almost every dang movie he was in for the Marvel MCU universe. All right. So he was making a lot of money with that. At the same time, that same year, he was in Ghost Rider 2. Not as great of a thing to brag about as the MCU situation. All right. But we get that. We get it. Okay. And don't forget, HEIMDALL was originally white in the comic books, but this is the man who turned down the black James Bond. Funny. Then in 2017, this man was in The Dark Tower. Once again, a role that was not originally made for a black person, a black guy as that role, right? But he went into that. You noticing something here? Or is anybody noticing something here weird? But I felt that it was a good movie. All right, it needed a lot of good reviews, but I felt it was a good movie. Okay. In that same year, there was also Molly's Game. He didn't play a huge role in that, but he did his best with what he had. Give it that. Still a good movie. Then in 2019, Hobbs and Shaw came out, which was a little side movie for the Fast and Furious franchise, right? So it's just as corny and over-exaggerated as those, right? But he played the villain. It's his first time kind of playing that kind of role. did a great job, in my opinion. Then in 2021, he was in Suicide Squad. Okay, kind of taking the place of Will Smith in the original Suicide Squad. Did a way better job. Just saying, just saying. So now we have 3,000 Years of Longing. Will this be one of his way better ones that he's already done? Or will it be another flop in the bad barrel? But to find out, let's go. 3,000 Years of Longing. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, by now, especially by now, as soon as this came out, if you don't know about this movie, you've been trapped in a bottle that looks like a smoke pipe of some sort, granting people wishes, hoping one day that you have to do this anymore. All right? Don't play around. Do not play around, okay? Don't play with me. 3,000 Years of Longing. It's pretty much about this mythology major, or scholar, I'm sorry, named ALITHEA, whatever. And she, on her little tour of her mythology, whatnot, and what she does, and her little exposés and shows and presentations she does, she fainted after seeing something that shouldn't be there. All right. Later on, she's in this little shop, and she finds this weird, mysterious vase or whatever it was, glass. She buys it, takes it home, cleans it, and of course, you know what happens next. A black genie pops out of the bottle, grants her 3 wishes, but instead of immediately taking those 3 wishes, she kind of prolongs the thought process of what she wants to do about this, because she's smarter than the average person that he gives wishes to. And that's the premise of the movie. Positives. This, I can't deny, this movie had an amazing imagery throughout the film. Okay, the cinematography was almost perfection. The way that things were presented and the way they looked, the genie itself, the jinn, I'm sorry, they call it a jinn, not a genie. The jinn itself, the way they made him look like he was not of this earth. All right, and you could tell the way the first time coming out of that bottle, he was like, he almost filled the whole house up. All right, so you know that he's not used to this earthly shape. He's not used to that. He had to shrink himself down later on just to accommodate the room in her house. All right, it was amazing how they paid attention to the detail of everything. The stories he told, the creatures, the illusions that she was having, just everything. It made you feel like you were going crazy. Okay, so I appreciated all of that within the movie. Amazing, once again. Another positive. Not only did this have amazing imagery, this had astonishing sound effects. And what I mean by that, every time that the jinn, I have to make sure I don't call it a genie, every time the jinn came out of his bottle, all right, it would make this monstrous growling sound, like it was being disturbed, like it was nothing, it was not even human until you looked at it. The mysterious stare she would give at it before you see what he looked like, it made you wonder, okay, did he take on another form, or what's going on now? Because it does not sound human. It doesn't sound anything like what you look at it, what you see when you look at it. All right. So just playing with the mind in that manner, I admired that. I admired that throughout the film. Okay, because they kept doing that, and every time it messed with my head. It triggered something in me to like, it's just, what's going on? I don't even sound right. But at the same time, it sounds right because he's not of this planet at all. Nice touch on that one. Another positive, and my last positive, all right? The Jin's stories, all right? This guy told some amazing stories, okay? It was better than what was actually going on. I'll get to that in a minute. But all his cautionary tales he is already telling, you know, just to help her make up her mind of what wishes she wants to make. Every story he told was quite interesting. I sometimes was wondering through the film, is this a book first? Because these stories are just, they're laid out very well. They're laid out specifically, like, just to let you know, okay, when you wish, don't wish for this. Don't wish for that. Please do not wish in this manner. Don't do this because, you know, it was definitely a perfect example of what you shouldn't do if you're given 3 wishes. And then the stories were so interesting and out there. They were just out there. Okay, they were way out there with those stories, man. I appreciate it. They didn't hold anything back. Okay, there were some stories about 2 princes or whatever the hell, and the little brother had an infatuation with the larger women, and that visual right alone was crazy. Okay, I love that they didn't try to censor that at all. They let you know he really loved the big women. Okay, so I enjoyed those stories way more than other things in this film. Negatives. When you first watch the trailer for this movie, the trailer makes this movie seem like there's going to be a lot of crazy, wild stuff going on in here. Like the pace and the tone of the film is going to be so outrageous that it's like, oh man, I'm up. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. That was a complete illusion within itself. I thought it was going to be so wild of a movie, and I thought it would be funnier. This, you know how much humor they gave Thor? Okay, tone that Thor movie down a little bit, just a notch, some notches, a little lower, and that you could have given that humor to this movie, please. There was not one funny thing that happened in there. I didn't go at all. Nothing moved me. Nothing moved me with this film. Not like that. Not in that manner. The trailer is a complete lie as far as how the movie's supposed to make you feel. I'm gonna just put that out right now. Another negative. There were too many silent moments within this movie. Honestly. Too many silent moments. There was so many times, more than I can count, that they were just pushing that dialogue out, and the whole background was just quiet while they were talking, and it didn't feel right. You know, a lot of movies at least have some kind of sounds in the back, or an orchestra doing something of the sort, of that manner, or some kind of score. At the times this movie needed a score, it didn't get it. It didn't get it. And I don't know why they did it. That was so irritating to me. It was unsettling. That was unsettling. It was also boring. It made it so boring that I did fall asleep a couple times. I'm not even gonna lie. I fell asleep. That made me fall asleep so hard doing that. All right? There are movies that don't need soundtracks in the background or scores, and then there are ones that really needed more of it. This would be one of them. Another negative. This had at times had dialogue that was just complete nonsense. Okay, it was a bunch of rambling and gibber and jabber. Okay, maybe if I go back and I watch the movie again, maybe I'll get some of what they're talking about and all of this. But it felt like they needed some scenes just to waste time and talk and talk and talk and talk and ramble and talk some more about things that in no way are going to predict the outcome of this movie at all. At all. You're just putting words in there in that script so you can waste time when there could have been a whole lot more you could have said in certain scenes. They didn't. They didn't do it. They didn't do that. Sometimes a lot of dialogue works, and then sometimes it doesn't. Let's just put it like that. All right. My last negative about this, I'd say towards the end, when the stories, all the great stories he told were done, and it just was starting to focus more on them. That's when this movie really started to just fall apart horribly. It was at a point where I was like, okay, is it over now? I kept asking the movie was over because it seemed like it was. Like, okay, there's nothing else you can do. Just end the movie. Just end it. Stop dragging it out. You've done what you had to do. She got her stories. Her time to make the decision is now. Now, the way whatever decision she made, that was very interesting. I'll give it that. But at the same time, why? Why so long to do it? Why take so long to get to that point? Why? And that's why I'm giving this an I. Yes, just an I. Despite the way the trailers have been popping out here and there and pumping this movie up extra hard, it still gets that I. That's it. That's all you're getting. I'm sorry. Now I'll watch it again. Might have a different outlook on it, but I doubt. All right. Press that like button, share this, and you better subscribe.